Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord and Jake Gordon. The NFL draft is officially a week away, and the Falcons could go in a number of different directions. There's probably, I think, Alex, you said it, there's 12 guys. Like, if they grabbed them, I'd be like, all right, that's a good pick. I like where they're going, whether it's a quarterback, running back. The good news is Terry Fontenot has put them in a position with this free agency class where there is no glaring holes. They really could address any place, best player available method, especially in the first round. And I think that's the way they go. So in this segment, we are going to do who we would like the Falcons to take at 8th in an ideal scenario, and who we think they will take at 8th. So who wants to go first? I don't want to go first, so one of you is going to have to go first.
I'll do it. So here, let's talk about I got two scenarios that I would consider like a dream scenario. So let's say Bryce Young goes first. Tyree Wilson goes second to the Texans in a shocker. Cardinals trade back. Titans trade up. Get C.J. Stroud. Colts go Anthony Richardson. Seahawks go Jalen Carter. Lions take Christian Gonzalez. Raiders take Will Levis. And Will Anderson falls into the Falcons' laps. That's not going to happen. But that would be a lot of fun. If there's no movement, let's just say it goes straight chalk. I want Devin Witherspoon. If you watch Devin Witherspoon, he is mean as hell. I mean, he is one of those corners that is going to ring your bell at any given opportunity. He's really good in man coverage, great ball skills, great at the point of attack. You know, he's a little lean too, and I think that's one of his knocks. But I mean, you can add functional strength to a guy like that, man. It's the NFL. These guys are gonna be able to put weight on him. But, he didn't test at the combine. I would have loved to see him test. But, man, his tape is beautiful. He is always just delivering punishing hits. He's physical. He's violent at the line of scrimmage when he's pressing. He is a perfect CB2 for this team. And we've seen corners come in. We've seen Pat Surtain. We've seen Sauce Gardner. Even Tariq Woolen, who went in the second round. We've seen these guys come in and immediately make All-Pro and win Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think a cornerback would be a fantastic pick. But Witherspoon's kind of my guy this cycle. That's who I really like. Wouldn't be mad with Christian Gonzalez either, but I'm big on a cornerback. Who I think it will be, I'll just go with the odds. I think it might be Bijan Robinson. He's the favorite. I don't necessarily
They changed. So Nolan Smith is the current favorite now.
I don't think it's going to be Nolan Smith because it's never who anybody expects. This always happens. I feel like it happened with Kyle Pitts. It happened with Drake London too, like a week before the draft. So right about now, maybe it will be Nolan Smith. We get one name that really starts heating up and everybody goes, oh, no, it won't be him. Everybody was like, no, it ain't going to be Drake London. They're taking defense. They're not taking Drake London. And maybe that's going to be Nolan Smith. We'll see if that trend continues. But who knows? Where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes. But I'm going to say, yeah, you know what? I'll say Nolan Smith.
Before last year's draft, I put my foot in my mouth where I was like, the Falcons are not going to draft Drake London. And they did. And I'm an idiot. Accountability, folks. Accountability. This is what I think will happen. I think it's going to be a very boring pick, like Peter Skonkowski or somebody like Skonkowski. I'm gonna have to learn that name because we're gonna draft him. That's who I think the Falcons will pick. It'll be either Nolan Smith or I'm not gonna say a offensive lineman. I'm gonna go with the Northwestern product. Who I want, and I want chaos. I want Bijan Robinson. I'm not looking down the road at a second contract because you should never give a running back a second contract. And though it looks bad if you don't give a number 8 overall pick a second contract, damn, it would be fun for 5 years. For 5 years of this offense, I mean, it would be so fun. And I've said it time and time again, in a different era, even like 15 years ago, I mean, Bijan Robinson would be in the conversation for the number 1 pick. I mean, there are very few blue chip prospects in this draft. And I get, the positional value is terrible. Never take a running back this high. They don't work out, yada, yada, yada. Tyler Algiers, I hear all that. I'm not ignoring it. I just think what I want is I want this offense to be fun again. I want to go into Mercedes-Benz, and I don't want to see a guard, a number 8 overall pick, and be like, oh, that's our 8 overall pick, even if it's what's best for the overall health of the roster. I want to go in there and pay for a Bijan Robinson jersey. That's what I want. I want it to be fun again. Winning a Super Bowl is nearly impossible. The Falcons probably aren't going to do it. I'm still going to support them. At least let's have some fun and score some points while we lose,
Hey, let me tell you right now. So to all the naysayers, all the Bijan Robinson naysayers, I do hear your concerns, like you addressed in positional value, all those things like that. This guy's getting comparisons to LaDainian Tomlinson, who was one of the 10 best running backs of all time. I just don't know how you can really sit there with a straight face and say, I don't want that. And I know that's not a guarantee that he'll turn into LaDainian Tomlinson, but this kid is, not only is he safe, he is so good. And I think he can get better. He's so talented. If you just watch him, it's like art watching him run the football. And yeah, I understand all that. Oh, he's a running back. You take the best player available. That's what good teams do. You know why the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Steelers, they don't sit there and say, oh, well, we need a guard or we need a pass rusher. We got to take one of those. No, they say, who is the best player? And that's what good teams do. And if you want to be a good team, you take the best player available. And you know who the best player available is? Probably Bijan Robinson.
Okay, one more thing before you go, Chase. How hilarious would it be in the first 3 drafts, 3 top 10 picks, we go tight end, wide receiver, and running back? That's how you build a franchise winner. I mean, that is hilarious.
There's good defenders in the second round, man. There's plenty of good defenders in the second round.
Listen, I'm going to stick with, hey, the reason we do what we like to happen is obviously for fun. And you're hoping that these guys that you like turn into good. They're guys that we all like. You know, you think Bijan Robinson's going to be the next LT, and that would be fun. Well, I'm going to say, you know, I know the last segment was on CJ Stroud. So my favorite pick would be a quarterback, whether it's Will Levis, CJ Stroud, or Anthony Richardson, because like you said, I want this offense to be fun again. And to me, if the front office goes out there and picks one of those guys, it means they have a lot of faith. I'm not going to say I'm a quarterback guru, but hell, I would love to watch Anthony Richardson try to grow and develop in this offense. I would love to see CJ Stroud and Arthur Smith's offense. And if they like Will Levis, I'm not as high on Will Levis, but if they like him enough to take him 8, they obviously see something in him that they don't see in Desmond Ridder. They obviously think he's going to be better if you take him with the 8th overall pick. So any quarterback to me is still the dream scenario, because I'm not sold on Desmond Ridder, and people that are sold on Desmond Ridder, I think, are stupid. Like you can think he could be an okay quarterback. Yes, I do think that's possible. And I still think the Falcons can make the playoffs with him under center. Do I think they can win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not. So go get your quarterback, because you can't win without a quarterback. Second guy would be Bijan Robinson. I agree with you, Alex, 100%. I think in Arthur Smith's offense, having a guy like Bijan Robinson, first of all, we can run the ball third. If we get an offensive line, if we had a left guard and you had Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, you could make the case they could run the ball 35 times a game and do it well. And you look on the other side of the ball, their defense is starting to look decent. Like, they won a lot of games with the worst defense in running the ball. Running the ball and playing good defense wins you a lot of games in the NFL. Will it win you a Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes? Probably not, but it'll win you a hell of a lot of games, and it'll be fun to watch that. And Bijan Robinson could be an MVP candidate in Arthur Smith's offense, and the combination of him and Algier would be like this superhuman. It would be Derrick Henry. Like, it would, if you combine both of them like into one player, like you'd have Derrick Henry, and that's what you could be running the ball. And if Desmond Ridder is any good, you have a really good shot at not just winning the division, but maybe winning a playoff game or two. So those would be my most exciting picks. I like your Devin Witherspoon pick. I also like Christian Gonzalez, because I think the secondary looks really good with Jesse Bates, Richie Grant, and A.J. Terrell. I like the Jeff Okudah signing, or trade for, and some of the other acquisitions, but you still need a long-term answer at that CB2. And getting a Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon, if they could turn into one of those top cornerbacks, like you mentioned, Patrick Surtain, Sauce Gardner, if they're like that, like all of a sudden your secondary is not just good, it's borderline elite. So those are all really exciting. Jalen Carter, I mean, hell, if that guy falls, you
yeah, like you said, there's close to 10 prospects you could talk me into.
And I don't even hate the Northwestern guy. I'm not even going to try to do his last name. Because to be honest, if you put a left guard in there, because everyone thinks he could be a all-pro left guard, if you have him at left guard with Chris Lindstrom on the other side, Caleb McGarry and Jake Matthews, and you're trying to run the ball, I still love Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, you're going to be really good at running the damn football. So there's a lot of ways this could go, and I could be very happy. So all those guys, Will Anderson, if somehow that happens. I mean, there are 6 guys that I would be super, super thrilled. I think quarterback would be the most exciting, because it means they're high on one of these guys. Bijan Robinson would be the most exciting, because he would just be a hell of a lot of fun to watch play. What I think is going to happen is almost more of a guess than what I want to happen. It's like, it could be anything. But I do think the Northwestern guy, I can't even say his name, it is definitely possible. I could see it being very boring. I think Paris Johnson Jr. also, he said he would not be against playing left guard. But I think it kind of depends how the board shakes out. And
Somebody's going to trade for that third pick, in my opinion.
Assuming like if one of those, like if Jalen Carter falls, how do they pass him up? It just seems crazy to me that they would do that. If Tyree Wilson falls, how do they pass him up?
Somebody we haven't talked about either, Miles Murphy out of Clemson. That's a guy that could definitely be in play.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't. It's hard for me to even put a name down. I mean, if I had to put one down there, let's go. Let's go Tyree Wilson. Let's go Tyree Wilson. I feel like there's a lot of smoke about him to the Texans. I feel like he's not going to go that high. A couple quarterbacks go in there, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, and all of a sudden he's there at 8. I think he's the pick.
There's a lot of I think there's a lot of good options too, and that's a good problem to have. We named just like 12 players. I mean, it's a good problem to have, and I think they really can't go wrong with this pick. There's a number of ways they could go, but I'm probably going to be pretty happy with whoever they end up taking.
Yeah, and I'm not also against just a scenario to throw out there. I mean, you said in the last segment when we talked about Stroud, but if hypothetically a quarterback is available at 8 that someone wants to trade up for, and you can go back 8 spots and still get Bijan Robinson and a first-round pick or a second-round pick, that's probably the ideal scenario if you don't like one of those quarterbacks yourselves.
Yeah, Falcons also stand to benefit from a run of quarterbacks. Just like you said, someone's going to trade up for that third pick, probably. The Colts are locked in. Obviously, the Panthers are locked in. I still contend the Texans are going to take a quarterback. 4 quarterbacks before, let's just say 4 quarterbacks before a position player comes up. All of a sudden, the Falcons are getting a top 5 guy in a normal setting. So,
it's going to be fun. We're going to do some mock drafts next week, but it's going to be fun.